for that Death Touch token.
I mean, you gotta imagine you're just putting it on the creature with power at this point, because now it's worth an extra point of damage.
And the second Lava Coil paid up for Sanchez, who can use both of them in tandem to take down a Haunted Nightmare, or maybe he has other plans for them. That is the card he's right at the top, after all.
I think it's tough, but at this point, look at how low Ueda's life total is.
Maybe we can start getting aggressive here.
Yeah, I know it sounds silly, but remember, all this life that Sanchez has been gaining with this cat has been taken from Ueda.
And using those Lava Coils, again, puts Ghost Rider that much closer to escaping. And every point of life loss or damage matters here, where with that Cal Alvin engine online, Sanchez can rack up the damage each turn cycle. So moving Ueda from 8 to 7 or 7 to 6 can shave an entire turn off of that.
Yeah, here's that big Woe Strider.
Another land for Ueda.
But if you can't attack, what is your path forward if you're in Ueda's seat?
I don't think there is one. It's a really tough spot for Ueda to be in.
Sending Knight of the Ebon Legion into this Death Touch cat, how long-term a strategy is that? You're trading your Knight of the Ebon Legion for a food in a Death Touch counter?
And with that Woe Strider back in play, Sanchez can start sacrificing those Go tokens to dig for relevant cards, and that's a lot of scries. He can find them pretty quick here. We even have, I think, a Castle Locthwain hanging out there on the far left side of the battlefield, so any black source can unlock that too.
And this is so close to lethal, depending on what exactly Ueda casts here. Just because you can have your own sacrifice outlay with this, between this this Woe Strider and the couple of foods you have on the battlefield, that's just extra attacks with Cauldron Familiar.
Haunted Nightmare number 2 for Ueda. Woe Strider's going to pick up the counter there. Ooh, and Priest of Forgotten Gods. That helps you counter 8 a lot faster. We are hearing that we will definitely have a sacrifice deck of some description in our semifinals. Milner on Rider Sacrifice beating Alexander Gordon Brown on Mardu Winota. So Blood Crypt still very well represented here in our semifinals. We also are getting word that the Edie Cassis match, Team of Reclamation Mirror, will be heading to Game 3.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so now Haunted Nightmare trades with Woe Strider. Sanchez goes ahead, pulls the trigger on double Lava Coil on Haunted Nightmare.
And this is one flaw of this mono black aggro deck. There's no big engine card that it can use to come back in the game. There's no curve topper like Winota that can let you come back from the seemingly hopeless board positions. Your plan is to kind of trade your cards one for one and then play some slightly above sized creatures and hope that that's good enough. And if it isn't, there's no big thing. Like, for example, in the John Sacrifice deck, a card like Corvold or versus Citadel, you just don't have access to that kind of effect.
Right, the closest things you have to that are much more incremental. There are things like Rankle, Master of Franks, or Castle Locthwain, and that's something that I don't see getting Ueda back into this. I think we're going to see our 4th semifinalist in Joseph Sanchez.
Murderous Rider casts for Ueda.
And this is Ueda recognizing that they cannot afford to pay 2 life for a hero's downfall.
As much as they would like to, they would love to have some way to contain that Priest of Forgotten Gods. But the more life you take, the easier it is for that Cauldron Familiar with that Witch's Oven to finish you off.
Right, at this point, Ueda's back is against the wall. You have to answer that Priest now.
And a Swamp, no help towards doing that, or towards anything else in this game. And Joseph Sanchez knows he is on the precipice of making the semifinals, of qualifying for the Zendikar Rising qualifier weekend, and continuing to play for that $2,000 first place prize. As well as locking up the automatic qualification for our Season 2 championship, where maybe he will be representing John Sacrifice. Activate Witch's Oven. Activate Cold Unfamiliar. And now Sanchez will get to untap with Priest of Forgotten Gods ready to go. Close to being good enough by itself.
All right, just a few more game actions.
Okay.
Oh, that's gonna do it.
Claim the firstborn. We'll finish this game in style. And Joseph Sanchez moves on to our semi-finals. A great run for Wataru Ueda, who certainly impressed me. Don't want to speak for you, but I think you're going to be on board with this too. Impressed me a lot with their piloting of this mono black aggro deck throughout this tournament, but that run cut short with what I think is one of the nightmare matchups for mono black aggro and maybe aggro as a whole. And this is where, you know, if you think the metagame is shifting in this direction, where Reclamation is rock and the aggro decks are paper, maybe you show up to the tournament with scissors. Maybe that's the move.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I've really liked from Ueda's play throughout the tournament is just being able to navigate throughout the course of a long game and using their resources to the best of their ability to kind of figure out what game they need to sculpt that they will win, and then using their tools to make that game happen. That's something where I would expect it to be something that pays off for them over the course of the rest of this season, right? They already have 110 total SCG points of the 150 needed to lock up, punch their ticket into that seasonal championship here in just a few weeks. They're most of the way there. They're a great player. I'm sure we have not seen the last of them.
And just speaking for myself, when you suffer maybe a tough or frustrating loss like that, when you're just on the edge of qualifying for some new big prize, the thing you most want to do is to just get right back in there to fire out the next tournament, and I'm sure Ueda will be raring to go for the next qualifier that they're able to play.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't feel too bad about a top 8, right? Getting at least 18 match points in the Swiss rounds meant that they are qualified for the Zendikar Rising qualifier.